In today's video, we're going to go over a series of exercises working on shoulder stabilization. If you're new to this channel, I'm Tara, I'm a neurologic physical therapist, and on this channel we talk about anything and everything related to mobility, health, fitness, and mindset in the context of neurologic injury with the end goal of empowering you with as many tools as possible to take ownership of your rehab and your health to live an overall more active, more mobile, pain-free, happier, healthier life. So let's talk about shoulder stabilization as it relates to kind of a neurologic injury or post-neurologic injury recovery. When we talk about shoulder stabilization exercises, what we're kind of talking about, simplified, is just the way that all the muscles around the shoulder joint coordinate together to, simplified, keep that arm bone in the socket as the arm bone is moving through different planes of motion. So if you can kind of envision this, it's just kind of like a bunch of guy wires that are attached to our body and then attached to our arm bone. And as we move, all of these shoulder stabilizers are just kind of doing their part to kind of tighten down depending on what angle or what position that arm bone is in. And that's extremely simplified. But one critical component of these stabilizers is that they're pretty automatic, meaning we didn't really ever learn how to use them. They just kind of kick in when needed. That just kind of develops as our mobility develops as we go through normal childhood development, right? And depending on sports we played, things like that, the different conditions that we're in, probably some people had developed stronger stabilizers than others, but again, you can see it's very condition dependent. So let's relate this back to neurologic injuries. One benefit of working these stabilizers, obviously, if these are like guy wires, if you've ever had a shoulder subluxation, which is when the arm bone partially drops out of the socket, which is common after a neurologic injury, when all of these muscles initially are kind of like paralyzed. The weight of the arm basically causes the arm to just kind of drop out of the socket because there's no tension in those guy wires. So shoulder stabilization exercises will kind of help to put some tension back on those guy wires and pull that arm bone back into the socket. But number two, the reason I think that shoulder stabilization exercises are beneficial after a neurologic injury for arm recovery is, as I mentioned earlier, they're kind of automatic. They just kind of do their thing, right? They respond to the different conditions that we're in. So when you put your body or your arm in different conditions, the hope is that these muscles will just kind of like automatically kick in. So why is that beneficial? Well, a lot of you have had damage to the hard drive, meaning the person or the system that's kind of controlling voluntary movement. So if there's any component of that where we can tap into maybe something that's automatic, hopefully we can work kind of bottom up, get some of those automatic components of the muscles to kick in, and hopefully that will create some sort of positive adaptive neuroplastic changes in the brain. So that's kind of like a bottom up approach versus top down, which is where you have to process or kind of generate the code and send that out. We're going to kind of build the code from the bottom up. Now, how do we do this post-stroke or post-neurologic injury? Well, we have to put the arm in conditions where we might cause some of these automatic muscles to kick in to stabilize the arm. So we put the arm in unstable situations. Anything that falls in that category, I call a shoulder stabilization exercise. Now, why do I tell you all that? Well, I think it was a couple of months ago, I did show a shoulder stabilization exercise where I had someone laying on their back and they were holding, or it was probably me, holding a kettlebell up kind of above the body, laying on your back. And someone in our private group kind of asked, like, I don't feel comfortable holding a kettlebell over my body or over my head laying on my back. And that's a very valid point. So that is a very high level shoulder stabilization exercise. And of course, it requires a lot of strength in the upper arm muscles. Now, if you're at that level, again, you're going to get some of that automatic response of that arm trying to just stay extended and hold that kettlebell above your head. But of course, a lot of you guys are not at that level. Hence the inspiration behind this video. We are going to go from very easy to very advanced or somewhat advanced ways of incorporating a shoulder stabilization exercise into your routine. Remember, the main goal is to challenge your body as much as possible, but still choose an activity that you can be successful performing. So keep that in mind when you're trying to decide which of these exercises that we go through, which ones you need to focus on, or which ones you should incorporate into your home exercise routine. Now, before we dive into the exercises, as a reminder, there is a PDF handout that goes along with this video that has pictures and descriptions of all the videos that we're going to go over today to make it that much easier for you to incorporate these exercises into your home exercise routine without having to keep coming back to this video. These PDF handouts are available to our Gold and our Bronze monthly members. To learn more about our membership programs and to sign up, go ahead and visit rehab-hq.com. Now let's go ahead and dive into the exercises. All right, so as I mentioned, we are going to start with what I would consider kind of more early stage exercises. And again, the goal of all the shoulder stabilization exercises is to put the arm in some conditions where some of those automatic muscles have an opportunity to do their thing. And again, it's kind of like a bottom-up approach to re-engaging some of the arm muscles. So this is one of my favorites, is putting your hand on something that's kind of like weighted at the top end of it. And obviously what that does, it just kind of makes this bar a little bit more tippy. Now you can also see I do have an elbow mobilizer on. And again, that's because most of you that are in the early stages, you can't keep your arm straight, and it is valuable to have that arm straight to get the most out of this exercise, but also it just allows your brain to kind of focus a little bit more on the shoulder when you're not also thinking about keeping the arm straight. Same goes for the hand. Some of you, yes, you might have like an automatic grip, but again, strapping your hand to something, meaning that your hand might like automatically grip onto this. I still recommend strapping your hand on so that your brain doesn't feel like it needs to think about holding onto the bar as much and can focus more or devote more attention up to the upper arm. Now, that's not like a scientific rationale. It's just something that I've found through the years in my experience that is beneficial. Take as much burden off of that cognitive load as possible. So strapping your hand to something, even if you do have like an involuntary grip, I think is beneficial. And then basically you're just going to kind of hold the arm, kind of tip it so it's a little bit off in one direction, and then let go. If your arm falls, grab it, obviously, so that you don't injure your shoulder. But again, we're trying to activate some of those kind of involuntary stabilizers to kick in. And so you're trying to put your arm in a condition where it wants to kind of use those stabilizers so that the arm doesn't fall. So again, kind of tip it in one direction, let it go. And again, you within reason, the more you tip it, the harder the arm is going to have to work because you've got more gravity fighting it. The closer you are to directly vertical over the pipe, obviously, the less your arm is going to have to work. So you want to challenge it enough, but not too much. Kind of that whole Goldilocks principle that I've talked about recently in a few videos. So letting it tip, and then grabbing it, tip, grab it, tip, and grab it. All right, now a lot of you guys have seen me show this. I show it quite a bit in videos when I talk about upper extremity weight bearing. We are going to do some kind of upper extremity weight bearing or arm weight bearing activities in this series of exercises because in general, and I should have mentioned this earlier, just arm weight bearing activities, in generally speaking, also do kind of force those shoulder stabilizers to kick in as well. But this is one of my favorites to really work on that shoulder stabilization. Use your other hand if you need to put that hand up on the wall, pry your fingers open. Don't think you can't do it until you try it. I've had people that have had spasticity in their hand that after they did it a few times, they were able to get their hand open because of the fact that you have that little bit of weight pushing into your arms. It does sometimes help to keep the hand open. And of course, if you need to use the elbow mobilizer to keep the arm straight because your arm has a tendency to bend up, then just go ahead and put that on. And then you're just going to do little unloading of the opposite arm. Again, trying to kick some of those automatic muscles, getting them to kind of kick in a little bit. All right, I switched to the air splint just to show you the different tools that you can use to keep the arm straight. I do prefer the air splint. The problem with it is it's a little bit harder to get on and you don't have access to your hand because it is intended to go over your hand. Now, the benefit of it is that kind of deep pressure along your whole arm does help to just give a little bit more input. So I do prefer an air splint if at all possible. Now, this activity, obviously you're probably not going to be able to do this one by yourself, but if you have someone that can help you, again, we're using the air splint with kind of a weight on the end to create a condition where some of those automatic muscle stabilizers or automatic stabilizers are just going to have to kick in. The thing I love about working stabilization laying down is you have the added benefit of kind of your body weight on the shoulder blade, which is part of the shoulder joint. That's the flat bone on the back of the shoulder joint. And having your body weight on that just kind of helps to add a little bit more stability. So versus sitting, I do prefer laying down. And again, we're just trying to create a condition where those shoulder muscles have to kick in. So let me show that to you again. Just laying on your back, using your other hand, or if you have someone that can help you, have someone else kind of keep their hands around the upper arm to just kind of create some boundaries. And then you just want to kind of gently let go, kind of let the arm fall and make sure you catch it before it falls too far. The goal is that the arm will react and try and stay vertical. So that's the whole point. So you can kind of let it go in one direction a little bit. Obviously, the more you let it fall in any direction before you let go of it, the more force is required to kind of keep your arm from falling. So the more vertical your arm is, obviously you have less gravity working against you. So start with a very small movement, let it go, and then just try and catch it before it falls. Again, the goal is that those arm muscles will kick in so that the arm will not fall. You can just kind of let it go in all directions. And again, you're right there, or you have someone with you helping you that's making sure to keep your arm safe so that it doesn't fall too far in any one direction and cause an injury. All right, so for this exercise, we're working the arm in a little bit of a different plane. So moving it more into abduction and trying to get those guy wires to have to coordinate just a little bit differently to kind of keep a little tension, hold that shoulder or that arm bone in the shoulder joint. I showed two variations, one where you're just going to hold that side plank. For a lot of you, that's going to be challenging enough. If you can do that, another way you can kind of challenge those stabilizers a little bit more is to add an arm movement with the opposite arm. Again, we're trying to kind of work bottom up. We're trying to work that system bottom up, meaning create the conditions, put the arm in the situation with the goal that the brain will be more kind of motivated, for lack of a better term, to kind of create the code around that movement. Okay, so let me show that to you again. On your side, hold that position. Once you can do that, add the arm movement, reach it up, reach it down, down towards your legs, bring it down, bring it back up. Every time you move that arm, this shoulder here is having to work a little bit harder to keep your body still. All right, so for this one, we're just doing a plank, putting our arms on something that's a little bit less stable. So obviously, if you put your arms or you weight bear on something that's a little bit less stable, your body's just gonna have to work a little bit harder to stabilize. All right, so you're just gonna get on your stomach, and then you can either do just lifting your hips, or you can go into a plank and lift your hips and your knees. And then you're just gonna hold that position. Today, I wanted to talk to you guys about this product called the Core Stretch. Now, the main purpose of this is to stretch the back out, which I think it does a fabulous job. It has these 2 pads at the bottom. You just kind of place them right in the crux of your hip. You reach your arms out, and you really do feel a great stretch just by leaning forward. There's a pivot on the base, so you can actually rotate side to side, and it really does feel great. However, the design of it is what had me interested because of all the other uses in the neuro rehab community that you can do with this. For instance, many of you have seen me use the Swifter to work on early stage arm movement. Well, this device, which is originally intended to be a stretching device, can actually do the same thing. So you just put your hands on the top, and it gives you a really nice early phase arm movement exercise if you're someone that is working on reaching. And what we would call this is kind of active assist, using your other arm to assist in that forward reach. Now, it is height adjustable, which a lot of you have seen me do with the Swifter, where I set it on different height surfaces. This, you don't actually have to do that. You can just, because it's got this height adjustable feature, you can make the exercise more difficult by just making it longer. And now you're pushing those arms kind of uphill a little bit. Now, once you get really good at that, you can put one hand on it and kind of do the same thing. But there's more that you can do with this that I've been messing around with, and that is to use it for standing activities. So in standing, it's the perfect tool for those of you where your arm draws up when you walk. I've talked about this in other videos, but that's usually when the lower body and the upper body kind of link up together abnormally. So when you're walking and you're trying to control your legs, your arm kind of, what I usually call in therapy, is just trying to kind of help out, but not doing a really good job of it. So you try and put more effort into working your legs, and that arm draws up. I've made complete videos on this where we work on breaking up that pattern by giving some kind of a challenge for the arms to keep the arms straight and work on standing balance to kind of separate or break up that upper body and that lower body. This tool is perfect for that. So you're just going to hold on to it and just push it forward and either do a weight shift and a knee lift or a step, with the main goal being that you keep pushing those arms forward, again, breaking up that tendency or breaking up that pattern where your arm wants to draw up when you're standing. If your arm automatically draws up when you stand up, then you just work on weight shifting. Again, trying to push this forward and shift, lift the heel, shift and lift the heel. Link to learn more about this product is in the description below. As usual with any product that I advertise or I talk about on this channel, Rehab HQ does receive a small commission. So if you do purchase this product, we are so grateful for your support of this channel. But more than that, you are going to get a very useful product. And now back to the video. And then for this one, kind of the same premise as the previous exercise, just getting your body weight in a prone position and getting onto some kind of a surface that's unstable. I do think that this one's a little bit harder than the previous one. So if you're trying to decide for an exercise to find that it's at your level, I would probably start with the other one first before advancing to this one. Start with your elbows on the gym ball, and then if you can hold that position, you don't lose your balance, then you can try and do the arm lifts with the other arm. So let me show that to you again. You're going to get kind of in a plank position. Try not to, the further back your hips are, the less weight there is on your arms. So in other words, the less your arms have to work or your shoulders have to work. So you do want to try and get your hips in front of your knees just a little bit. Try and hold that position. And if you can, then you kind of want to center your body kind of over one arm and reach the other arm forward. If you can hold it, but you can't lift your arm, the other one you can do is just roll your elbows forward and then pull them back. Again, that's going to kind of force those stabilizers to kick in also. And then that is it for this video. I hope you guys found this video helpful. I hope you found 1 or 2 exercises in here that you can add to your home exercise program to build those shoulder stabilizers. All the products that I used in today's video are linked below this video. This channel is a part of the Amazon affiliate program. So by clicking on the links in the description, we do receive a small commission and we really do appreciate your support. Also, don't forget there is a PDF handout that goes along with this video. If you want to get access to that PDF handout, you do have to be a gold or a bronze member. To learn more about our membership programs and to sign up, you can visit rehab-hq.com. If you're new to this channel and you like this kind of content and you want to get more free videos, hit that subscribe button and turn on that notification bell so you'll get notified every time we post new videos here on YouTube. If you want to get exercises throughout the week, you can head on over to Instagram where we post 1 to 2 videos every single week. I enjoyed spending time with you all today, and I'll see you in the next video. Have a good day.